Yo, what's good? Welcome to Counter Currents. This is episode 103, the Grape Street edition, with your host, Petey Steele.
And your co-host, Elena Torres. And our guest today is somebody that we've known for a while. He just released a special that you can find on YouTube, and probably if you check his social media other places, he'll tell you about it. But it's so good. You guys should check it out. And this is a guy, when I started comedy, I saw him perform and he would do like a full 10 minutes just on almond milk. And I said, wow, this guy's going places. So please welcome the very funny Benjy Himmelfarb.
Hello. I'm glad somebody remembers that bit.
Yeah, it was a long bit.
That bit was 100% inspired by Vyvanse extended release, 30 milligram. I popped one of those, and it was time to write some new jokes for the open mics, and I was like, I got a lot of thoughts about alternative milks.
Yeah.
And then 7 minutes later, I had 9 jokes in a bit about milk. And that was one of those bits that I loved, and it seemed like that was a real back of the room bit. And I remember being really proud of the jokes in the bit, but that the biggest laughs would be me being like, and another thing about milk, that would get like the biggest laugh.
I remember you always looked like you were having a lot of fun doing it. I remember you were getting like it was like right when I started, you were getting like all the prime spots, and I'm like, wow, they're really letting this guy experiment go on.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's just a funny thing. I didn't even think about what a new comic would think. We'd be like, damn, this guy's just talking about milk. He's got the best spot of the night. He's talking about how almond milk isn't a real milk because milk only comes from mammals. But yeah, I was doing that joke for like a week and then I gave it up. But one of the best moments of that bit was one night at Big Hunt. I think someone started chanting milk and the crowd was just going milk, 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 milk. So it was all worth it.
Convince you. Listen to your senior year girlfriend.
I can't believe you were only doing it. Felt like you were doing that bit for so long.
I felt like it was good forever that you did that fucking bit.
But I also think when you're a new comic, you like spend a lot of time really paying attention to everybody's sets again and again and again. So a lot of the times, like the jokes people were doing when you were new are like the ones that are stuck in your head.
Oh yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah. I'll always remember Petey's joke about the mentally disturbed lady singing gospel songs. I'll never forget that one.
Oh yeah.
Just the face he would make and how he would scrunch up his going like this. I forget what song it was.
The gospel joint.
Yeah. Classic. Vintage Petey.
Yeah. That was 2012, like I think when we first started, right? 9
years
ago.
Mm-hmm. That's when you were using your different last name back then?
I was using my government name at the time. That's right.
You did that?
I started
your real name at any point in comedy.
Known a little bit, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can keep doing my double life without a disguise, you know?
Right.
I wish I had picked a new name. It's too late for me now, but now I'm just like, fuck, now if this doesn't work out, I'll never be able to get another job.
Right. You try to do something corporate, they're like, comedian.
Yeah, the kind of stuff I've put out, it's like, I can't come back from that, man. I'm stuck.
It's too serious.
I'm all in. It's blood in, blood out, man.
Speaking of all in, you moved to New York last year, right?
Yeah, October 2019. Great timing. Great timing. Perfect timing.
Yeah. What part do you mind telling me what part of New York did you move to?
In like central Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. Did you what was that like? That sort of like comedy culture shock?
Well, I knew it wasn't going to be easy. Mm-hmm. It's like that. I think that happens to a lot of people who move from like second level cities like DC or Chicago or whatever your second level city is going to be. I think a lot of times you see the people who succeed are able to psychologically hack it, and the people who don't, it's mostly because of psychology. I've seen so many great comics go, and then it's like, what happened? It's just because it's such a huge it's such a huge shock to your ego to not be like a big fish in a small pond anymore. No one cares. They not only do they not care, they're also like actively against you because you're more competition, you're more log jam for them. They're just like, fuck this guy. I've like, I've been scurrying around picking up acorns for my little spot, not this fucking guy. And then especially bad if you're actually good.
Yeah.
So I knew that going in, and it's like DC is represented pretty heavy in New York, which is great. In like pretty good way. Like it's no joke, people like really at high levels. So that worked. And I had stuff going on. Like I'd already been making a living from comedy. I already had a show at the Kennedy Center. I already had worked with a bunch of headliners that were out of New York. So I was like, this is the right move right now. But yeah, bro, I mean, some people move too early and some people move right on time and it doesn't work. But it's like, I mean, I don't know if I knew what I knew now, maybe I wouldn't have moved, but who knows, man.
Well, I mean, with the pandemic, I feel like how were you supposed to know? Have you stayed there through the pandemic, or did you do like? Yeah,
I mean, we left. I think right when it started, we left. We went and stayed with my parents in Maryland in their basement for a little bit.
That's what I went and stayed with my in-laws in Maryland for a few months. What was that like? How long did you last? I think,
bro, we were there like 6 weeks.
Oh,
yeah, but
I mean, that's pretty long. I did 3 months, but 6 weeks was probably right. Yeah.
And you're newly married, right?
Yeah.
So like, what's that like? That seems like a triple whammy. Like, married in New York.
Yeah, bro. No, I mean, luckily for me, like my wife is so supportive and she's very type A. So like, I was like, hey babe, I think I need to move to New York. Like, and I was more mobile because I'm like, I'd already quit my corporate job or whatever. And she was like, okay. And she just started applying for jobs. And like 3 weeks later, she had a job in New York that was going to pay our moving expenses and like give us a place to live for a month. So I was like, all right,
amazing.
Fucking let's go, babe. Yeah. Let's fucking go.
We made it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been, but yeah, no, I mean, it's been funny. Like we got married New Year's Eve, like 2019 into 2020.
Wow.
So like, we were like, this is going to be a great year. We just got married. We got this apartment. I'm making moves in New York now. You got this great job. And it was like,
and then right to your parents' house.
Yeah.
Puts it to the test.
Within 12 weeks, I was in my parents' basement. Just like, what the fuck have I done? With my wife in my parents' basement.
Yeah. And did she go crazy, or like, how did that?
Well, no, actually, surprisingly, this is rare, but my parents and her get along really well. So.
That's how you knew she was the one?
Right.
Yeah, bro. I mean, my parents love her and she likes my parents, so yeah.
That's great. I get along with my in-laws, but after 3 months it was like,
oh, dude.
It was too much.
Yeah, there's like get along with your in-laws and then there's like live in their house for 3 months.
Yeah, and it was like similar where we had a baby in December
of
2019.
God. Oh yeah.
And then we moved in right when the pandemic started.
Oh my God.
Because I had no other way to get help with the baby. So,
yeah, and you have like a 4-month-old?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We had a 3-month-old.
Wow.
When it started. It was...
I haven't met a girl I'd allow to introduce to my parents.
Yeah, I had a short list, I'm going to be honest. It wasn't like everyone was getting to meet my parents, so.
Right. Yeah. Was she the first one that got to meet your parents, or
No, but it was, maybe there was like one other one.
But the most important. That's cool that she's chill with comedy. I always say that like a lot of people, and you probably get this too, Benjy, where like a lot of people ask me like, how do you keep a relationship and do comedy? It's like I just got lucky where my husband also happens to love comedy. And he loves to he probably likes it more than I do, I think. Like he'll
interesting.
He'll come to shows because he likes to watch. And
for you, it's a job.
For me, it's a job, and he's not sick of it. Like he likes to watch, especially like now that he knows he likes to watch everyone and talk about who's getting better or who's not.
Oh yeah, my wife does not come to shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't want to. You see, this happens a lot, especially back in the open mic days. You see comics, they get a girlfriend, and you're like, oh, good for them. They got a girlfriend. That guy got a girlfriend. All right,
Yeah.
great, proud of you, bro. And then he makes a mistake of like bringing them to the shows, and then it's like you're gonna destroy that relationship. And then it's either.
Yeah.
And then, like 2 weeks later, the girl stops coming to the shows, and you're like, "Well, we broke up."
Yeah.
or you stop seeing them around because they got a good girlfriend or boyfriend, and they're just like, "Yeah, this is way better." Yeah, I'm thinking of someone who was like really pretty funny, and she got a boyfriend, and now they're married, and it was just like, "Oh yeah, that was a much better move for you, obviously."
Yeah. Well, I feel like I've seen a lot of that since I started comedy, where a lot of people like get a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Mostly it's because comedy's mostly dudes, so like mostly girlfriends, and they'll be really excited about the girlfriend, and within like 6 weeks they start to like taper off, and then like a year later you're like, what happened to that guy?
Mm-hmm.
And you go on Facebook and it's like, oh, he's in love.
Yeah. Comedy's really hard, man. It's harder than having a girlfriend, especially if you get a good 100%. Girlfriend. You know what I mean?
It's more like having a bad girlfriend.
Yeah. Like comedy versus a good girlfriend, it's like a really easy choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, of course, the good girlfriend. But I was already in too deep when I met my wife.
Yeah. Did you meet her? How many years in did you meet her?
I don't know, like 4 or 5 or something. Yeah, something like that.
And she was cool. Did you bring her to any shows in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time she came to one, I was like, I better fucking do good, because I just been like, yeah, comedy is my passion. It's like my dream. It's like my whole life. And then imagine I go up there and I'm just like, yeah, so supermarket's kind of weird. What's up with all the yogurts? You know, just bombing. But luckily I did good. She said she was nervous too, because it's like, what if I sucked?
Yeah. Yeah, and your idea of this person was like totally...
Yeah. No, I had a buddy, he was dating a girl and she was like an artist. And then I think their relationship kind of fell apart because he found out she was like a bad artist. She like wasn't good at art.
Oh, I've dated several bad musicians before.
Oh, yeah.
Where, you know, you try to convince yourself, like in the beginning, I was also like very young. And so I would like try to convince myself that it was just like a first album problem. Like, he's finding his voice. He'll get better.
You're like, so
you're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Job loser.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, and no, that was not the case. And there comes a point where you're just like, I can't really commit to this relationship. Like, I can't go to these shows because I can't listen to this shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's all Yeah, but it's also sort of like, if the person is like that delusional, it's like, well, that's a huge red flag about probably other stuff in their life, you know?
Right. Like when their hit single is something named Addiction and they think it's creative, then you're like, listen, this isn't going to work out for you. But anyway, so you have a special that just came out, right?
Yeah. Thanks for asking about it.
Of course.
This is like I like these like desk bits from late night shows. Hey. So Benjy, I heard you just went to the zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the gorillas. No,
we've never talked about this before.
Yeah, no, I just released a special. It's called So Good. It's on YouTube. It's not traditional, but it's still really fun. It's like it's cobbled together from a couple sets I did back in January at some of Martin Amini's show, and I wasn't even planning on releasing a thing. It's just we had this great footage, and it was really fun.
Back in January, like 3 days ago?
Yeah. Towards the beginning of January, and like I wasn't planning on releasing anything, but you know, we had this like really high quality footage. The shows were really fun, and it felt like I had just like in my mind my first special. Well, I was supposed to shoot a thing at DC Comedy Loft. I don't know if, well, you can edit that out. But
oh yeah,
sensitivities. Yeah, at a club in DC.
Mm-hmm.
put that in. I was supposed to at a club in DC.
Yeah.
I was supposed to shoot an hour in April 2020, which was going to be like a polished hour or like my best bits in the, you know, headliner set kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that was going to be like my first special. And then obviously that didn't happen.
Right.
So I was like, fuck. You know, I've been spending this whole time like, damn, I wish I'm like ready to get rid of a lot of that material. And that, like, I don't even have a good full thing of it. And then Martin just convinced me to like release this anyway. And it's still like really fun. So maybe there'll be a chance to shoot an hour again eventually. So this was never my dream of like my first special, but I was like, but I don't know if you guys saw that Dion Cole thing where he basically like, he was supposed to shoot a Netflix thing in 2020 and obviously that didn't happen. And so he just released all this tape of him like working it out and it's really raw, but it's awesome. You should definitely check it out. Like, I think every comic should watch it. So yeah, that week, you know, me and Martin are doing these shows and we're hanging out and I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, I need to do that. Because I was like, this is what stand-up should be. It's so raw and it's kind of loose, but it's like so fun. So that's kind of what my special I was aiming for, kind of like loose and raw. Like, it's like 30% actual written bits and like the rest is riffs and crowd work.
Yeah, but that's what it looked like. And I mean, not to be disrespect for anything like that because it was good, but it was definitely like riffing. And it made me wonder, though, how many people were in those audiences because it doesn't really show. You hear the laughter, but...
Yeah, probably around like 15 per night.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that sounds right because I recognized Martin's laugh the whole way through.
Yeah. So I mean, like as oh, this is this guy's first special. I don't know if it's like it doesn't hold up to like New in Town or like whatever, Killing Him Softly or something, which was like my idea of what my first special would be.
Right.
But like I'm like, this is fun, and I feel like if people watch this and they like it, they'll definitely like me because I was being really raw. I didn't even know I was gonna release it. So like, yeah, that I still feel good. I think it looks great. It was shot it in like 4K. It looks awesome.
It does look really good, and the lighting that he put together in that place, I have to say, is really good.
Yeah, it looks like the set is cool.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is like, I felt weird about it. Martin was telling me to kind of like size it to people when I was like promoting it. You know, he was like, say it's your best work, and I'm like, okay, but I don't think it's my best work, but it's still like I had a great time, and you can definitely tell because I have tapes of stuff I did like longer sets where it just doesn't have the certain something to it that I've never released where I'm like, the jokes are working, the crowd's laughing, but I don't feel like I'm like firing on all cylinders. And this, even though I'm riffing and fucking around with the audience, a lot of it, I still felt like I was like really in the groove.
Well,
so
also,
that's my pitch.
I think specifically for camera, because I think this is a thing where I think you see a lot of stand-ups that we know that we've seen in clubs, and you'll see them just like absolutely crushing clubs, and then you'll see them doing a set on Netflix and you'll hear the crowd laughing, but it's not the same,
right?
It won't like blow up the same. And I think because the camera is such a different medium and the camera picks up on authenticity so much better, so I think it's a better idea to do that, I think, than like, you know, the Killing Them Softly sort of like I mean, that's an amazing special, but I think especially today people crave sort of in the podcast world, like people crave more of an authentic artist, I think, in many ways.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the tone of this special is set off just right with the opening line. I really want comedy to work out for me.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like, that's what I like. Like you're saying, like I've seen so many Netflix things where it's like, I know this comic's great. Why does this suck? Like, what is? I don't know what it is, but yeah, like I've been kind of like, you know, you guys know Martin's definitely on this where he's like put out everything, bro. He's like, I don't know why people are sitting on stuff. Don't do that, bro. We're beyond that time. It's a new time. There's no more like that time is gone. You got to be like putting stuff out. So I was like, bro, I feel good about it. Let's go, you know?
Well, also that's way better because then you don't have, when you get to a certain point, you don't have to deal with all these middlemen and their bullshit. Like there's a lot of middlemen, you know, like agents, studios, whatever, that like you'll have like these guys who, I'm married to one who like played lacrosse. I mean, love him, but like married, played lacrosse and like, I don't know, we're in a fraternity and they'll be like, this would actually be funnier. So why don't we film this when you do this? And
Right. I think, that's going to be, I think for a lot of people, will probably produce it themselves and then like shop it around. I think that's like, because you watch some like sets that Netflix puts out and other platforms, and you're like, who is behind like miking the audience and like who?
Yeah.
It's just like basic shit that you'd think someone would be aware of, and you're like, you fucked the whole thing up.
Yeah.
You fucked the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there was Tim Dillon had a thing. I don't remember if it was half an hour or 15 minutes on Netflix a year or two ago.
Oh yeah, he was on one of those things.
And it was just like the audience was dog shit. And it was like, this is one of the funniest new comics that there is. And you made his thing bad. Like, you should be fired.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he's a perfect example of somebody where like Netflix didn't showcase what a great comic is. He has such a huge following. I mean, I don't know how huge, but a pretty big following now that's just getting bigger and bigger.
Right.
On with his podcast and social media and whatever, because he was able to control all that himself.
Yeah.
I know nothing of special production, but I wonder if it's just a lot different than what the Netflix people are typically used to in the realm of like setups and shit like that,
Yeah.
Because they put out so much comedy now, and it gets that common critique anyway that it's just oversaturated and maybe they're doing too much. I don't know.
Yeah, they're more like a quantity over quality kind of thing. It seems like.
Yeah.
Like with everything, with their shows, they're just like throwing anything at the wall and seeing what sticks. Because they once in a while they'll have just like they'll buy. Did you hear about that thing about like that some Polish company made this like it was basically like a 50 Shades of Grey kind of movie. They just had this like hot guy and this hot girl and they show dong in it. Yeah. And like it's like a Cinemax porn basically for women.
Oh, yeah.
And it became this like huge hit around the world. They probably paid like pennies for it because it was just like this dog shit Polish thing. Like that's their model,
Yeah, just do a lot.
My wife was watching it.
Just get dong in it.
No, the guy is like the lead guy is like this hot model guy, and it's like kind of like weirdly line crossy sex scenes where you're like, okay, is this what women want? Okay. Apparently.
What's it called? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I wish I could remember the name. I don't remember it.
It's Polish?
I mean, it's not clear.
Moving her hair around too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what? Definitely check out the Schlong movie on Netflix.
Check out don't watch my special on YouTube. Watch the Schlong watch the weird kind of rapey movie that's popular with women on Netflix.
Right.
PG-13.
Right. Are you happy though that you got to film, that you filmed your special in, I guess you were always going to film your first special in DC.
Yeah, I was always going to do it. But yeah, man, it's like I was all set up in March. I was like, all right, time to promote this thing and get people to show up and buy tickets, and then like get a camera crew. I was all ready to do that. And then that just, obviously so,
Yeah.
But yeah, DC is a great comedy town. So
fantastic. So what about, I noticed at the beginning of the special, so Martin said you're doing the time machine at the stand. I guess they're closed now, but any plans for when things are coming back in New York or anything? Or
yeah, it's like we did it there in February 2020. Nice. And we were on the books again, and then obviously, so they're doing their best to just hang on right now.
Yeah.
So like I don't know what the rules are in New York, but you definitely can't gather like enough people to like make it worth it with the ticket sales for a show like that. So but yeah, that was more to just kind of size me a little bit because people don't know who I am.
I actually was talking about, and this is like not bullshit because you're on that episode. I was actually talking about that show on another podcast a few days ago and saying it's the only roast show that I like. Because a lot of roasts, there's something about it that I like. I don't know if I'm just too sensitive, but there's just something about like the meanness that I don't like. But the great thing about your show is like everybody's dead. Everyone's playing it. And I think it also makes it so much funnier.
Yeah, I mean, some of those I love like a classic Comedy Central roast.
You do?
Like, a Deus style roast, you know. I love that stuff. I always watch those to get like in the writing mood when I'm like preparing for those shows. Mm-hmm. And I think the mean stuff is really funny. And I've seen some great like roast battle when that was the thing, where comedians were doing that a lot. I've seen some great. I've also seen some pretty bad ones. Right. But yeah, that show's fun also because it's like, yeah, they're dead. Like, how can you be? Right. You can't be mad about it.
Right. And I feel like from a writing standpoint, it's such a fun exercise. For anybody that's listening that doesn't know, Benjy has a show called Time Machine Roast, where basically he gets a bunch of characters from history and a bunch of comedians together and they just roast each other. Right. Is that a good description?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you'll just have like Che Guevara and like Henry VIII and Cleopatra. Right. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Shakespeare, it's completely random.
Right.
And then,
Do the comedians choose?
I can play him.
What'd you say?
I said, do I have to wait for Pete Rose to die so I can play him?
Yeah, you have to wait for him to be allowed in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hold my breath.
Do you let the comedians choose who they?
I usually let people choose. I want them to do someone they're excited about, and it's like whoever you want, really, as long as they're not like too obscure. Right. And then the only rule is like no civil rights icons, basically.
Oh, that's smart.
Which it would be funny for the comedians, but no one wants to hear jokes about like in the audience wants to hear like Rosa Parks jokes.
Yeah.
Over and over again. That's tough.
You don't want to touch historical.
No, it's like I always say, history is very problematic, and for that reason, I won't be teaching my children about it.
Yeah. Yep, nothing happened before.
No, but dude, that's the funny thing about the show is Jerome Russell, he was Thurgood Marshall one time. Mm-hmm. Like great, the first black Supreme Court justice, like huge civil rights icon. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, there's not that much funny about him. He's just a hero, Mm-hmm. So it ended up me just being roasting Baltimore and shit because he's from Baltimore. So it's like, that's the fun thing about the show. And then, I had a joke just because like people are always like, oh, is this some PC bullshit show? I had a joke like he helped integrate a movie theater, and I was like, that was great for black people and terrible for people who don't like people talking at the screen. So there's a little something for everyone in the show,
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. For every kind of audience member.
For every kind of audience. Racist. Vaguely racist. Secretly racist.
Yeah. Legally racist.
Legally racist. Racist according to Twitter.
Yeah. Which is pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
We got both
scared of Twitter
from
now.
Kennedy and Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever.
Bro, seeing her old Facebook post was it was like the highlight of my week, bro. Seeing what this lady, I was like, I can't
I didn't see. I ignore her.
Oh, bro, you missed out, bro. They elected like basically imagine like those like blurry, unattributed like Facebook memes that you see from like random people that went to a comedy show in Lorton one time. Those kind of people.
Yeah, that is what she is. No,
that she is a meme. She is one of those. It's like, it's like AOC is planning on making the flag illegal. Like one of those. She's planning on replacing July 4th with Sharia law day. Share if you agree. Like. She literally, dude. They found this post of hers from a few years ago, where she was saying that the California wildfires were caused by Jewish lasers, that Jewish people have lasers in outer space and they were shooting them at California to start wildfires because they wanted a high-speed train to go through that area. It's fucking awesome stuff.
Totally
She's making a lot of good points.
I heard she was on the Jewish laser train, but I didn't realize it was like that intense where she had posted. Wow.
The thing that's awesome about that is like, I don't know. I just think that's so funny. I just like, it's just like, if Jewish people had enough, like we were getting together to make like lasers from outer space to start wildfires, don't you think we would have just already gotten the train thing done? Like if we had enough wherewithal and like group cohesion and power to do that, like it's like, why would we waste our time?
Right. What a Jewish approach that is, by the way.
Yeah.
No, there's your conspiracy theory isn't practical.
Yeah. We could cut a few costs if we just made the train without the laser.
Exactly. Wouldn't we have done this already?
I like the plan. Why so many lasers? More trains, less lasers.
Yeah.
Lasers? I don't know how a can opener works.
Oh man.
But yeah. So when's the next disjointed special?
I don't know, bro. I mean, I'm coming down. I'm gonna be featuring for Martin this weekend at the Draft House.
Nice.
Oh, perfect. That worked out.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna come out of that. I don't know if I'll release a special from that, but like, yeah, I might. There's something. If you want to see me in person.
Hey.
Yeah. Come to Arlington.
Show you my space laser. You show me mine.
Yeah, Benjy will be clearing a way for you to get there with a space laser.
Yeah. No. One of the feedbacks I got on the special was from several people was almost verbatim. It was, how do you get away with doing those accents? That was a common feedback I got. Because I do a couple of different ethnic accents. Because I don't really do them in my jokes, but I was just fucking around there. And yeah, come to the Draft House and see how many other accents I'll be able to get away with. See which ones I can and can't get away with.
Yeah.
Would you call the sequel to the special Mo Good?
Yeah. There you go.
You will
or
now.
Is that like as
That's
bad
smart.
as doing like a foreign accent? It's like, appropriation of AAV.
Yeah. The next one it'll be me, and the words will look like they'll be like diamonds, and I'll be sitting in front of like a Cadillac or something. It'll just look like a No Limit Records cover from the 90s or early 2000s. That's what I'm gonna do, Petey. I'm gonna just really lean into it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. With a space laser.
Hell yeah.
And a parental advisory.
Yeah, no. Someone was telling me I should change my name to Benjy the Jewish Laser Himmelfarb.
I mean, it's important to have a niche,
Yeah. It's like hamburger, That'll be or like yeah.
I don't know. The Jewish laser Himmelfarb sounds a little bit. I think you could just call it like the Gamma J. I think
there you go.
Gamma J Farb.
It's less of a space laser, more of a laser pointer, if you guys know what I mean. But
those laser pointers are deadly, man. I watched a guy on the New Jersey Turnpike, an old friend of mine, fucking put that on somebody, and he followed him for 2 hours.
What?
Yeah. Fucking around, putting that shit.
Just a lot of crazy people. It just attracts crazy people. That's what the lasers actually do.
Yeah, they'll follow you to Pennsylvania. They don't give a fuck.
Damn. That's crazy because you get laser pointer. They got a lot of range, because like you can like take down a plane with one or like a helicopter, and you can also like entertain your cat for like an hour.
You just mean range with like activities you could do.
Yeah, so much stuff. I feel like it is a very cruel game to play with your cat. It's like a cruel like philosophical game. You're like, you can't catch it because it's not even there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure. It's like throwing a ball or pretending to like 600 times with a dog, you know?
Yeah.
But actually, for dogs like that shit. Like if you throw them the ball, if you pretend to throw the ball, that's fucked up. But they'll go get that ball forever.
Fuck yeah. But
maybe that's like, maybe for a cat, it's the same way with a laser. They enjoy that; it gives them purpose. Kind of like a dead end job, you know.
Wow.
This is one of the deep cuts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Damn. Pass the joint.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So you got the draft house this weekend, and
yeah.
then, what's coming after that? Any? Do we got
a podcast, right?
Yeah. I have a podcast. It's called Spicerack Boys with
That's
a Z.
Podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, it's me and two of my not comedian friends, but we're friends from like way back.
I met one of them in Chicago.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you were there at the Laugh Factory that time.
That was great.
That was a great night. Yeah, you crushed that night.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it too.
Yeah, so it's my buddy Sook and my friend Sarish, and Sarish is a doctor and Sook is like a designer. And so, but they're both funny, and we have like, you know, we're friends, so we have like a good like rapport. So we just fuck around and talk shit and just say whatever. But it's really fun. We've been getting good feedback. I mean, it's a new podcast. We just started it, I don't know, like September or October. And we've been doing it over Zoom, but we got the sound quality down, so yeah, it's been fun.
That's great. Was that your idea to convince them?
No, I don't know. It just sort of came up naturally with all of us. We were like, it'd be funny if like the three of us had a podcast. And we're just like, fuck it, let's do it. It was kind of an accident. I mean, like, I don't think it would have happened if like coronavirus hadn't happened. But yeah, it's been great, and I think it's cool to like that people are fucking with it. It's like a cool thing to see. So yeah, check it out. We have a lot of clips up on my Instagram and our Instagram. So if you want to taste, it's funny. We were joking about like, we're like, I think we have more people who watch the clips than even listen to the podcast. They're like, I'll just stick with the clips.
Yeah. I like this in 45-second doses.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but that's the funny thing about having a podcast. I'm sure you guys know about it too. It's just like some random person you never met will like message you about something you don't remember saying like 3 months ago. It's kind of a weird feeling. You're like, fuck, what else did I say?
Yeah.
You start to get nervous.
Or you realize like how much about yourself you've said on a podcast.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I had a guy come to a show and he was like, oh, I love your and Petey's podcast. And you know, your whole, and he basically like listed my whole background to me. And he's like, I like your story. And I was like, have I said all that? I was like, I thought we have guests on our podcast. I didn't realize that I even. You
just have 911 pulled up on your phone, ready to dial.
Right.
Well, a lady followed me yesterday with all these inspirational memes and stuff about like cancer awareness, and I was like, doesn't she know I'm a piece of shit? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you never know. You know, people have one face that they show to the world, and then like what they really like. Because that's like obviously, especially when you're doing like comedy podcasts, I think like any one of them, it's like you get the feedback of like, this is how me and my friends talk when we're together, you know? So it's like, okay, cool. Yeah. Maybe
like,
people are pretending that they're like good people, but.
Right.
Yeah. So whoever, that lady, if you're listening, I know your secrets, bitch.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So you got all that going on. The Spicerack Boys podcast. Where can anybody get at you?
Yeah, just, you know, my Instagram or Twitter. It's at Benjy Himmel, BENJY Himmel. And then my website, I guess, if you want to do it that way. I don't know, benjyh.com. So, nice. Yeah.
And is the other podcast on hiatus, or is that done?
Yeah, we're on hiatus. Denise had some like projects she was working on, so we kind of put it on pause. And then I was like, I'm not going to turn down this opportunity to do one with my friends also. So, yeah, I mean, me and Denise's might come back. That
was good.
Yeah.
The 60-minute hate, right?
Yeah. If you want to go listen to old episodes. We should put that behind a paywall or something. There's some wild I listened to one and I was like, I cannot believe this is like public. My wife made me take one down because she was looking for jobs.
Why?
We should probably just take them all down and put them behind like a paywall kind of situation.
Right, there you go.
Because I mean, also just like some of the content stuff we said, and then like some of the titles were pretty wild. Also, like my wife was like, "Yeah, I was googling my name, and your podcast episode it was called People Who Do Anal Are Braver Than the Troops. Can you maybe like?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, what did we talk about on that episode?" Fuck. So, yeah, man, like I said, I'm not employable. So, like Petey referenced from the beginning of the special, I need this to work out. So go listen to my podcast, watch my special, follow my Instagram. Come see me at the Arlington Draft House opening for someone else. Oh, boy.
We're killing it out here.
Yeah, bro. I like this podcast you guys got. It's like the least likely people to have a podcast together. It's like the least likely duo that I would have expected.
Yeah, that's why I picked it. Originally, it was just me. I got tired of just hearing myself, you know?
Yeah.
Which is rare, but it happens. So this is a time in my life to kind of reinvent a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, Petey's like the most giving coworker I've ever had. He like always listens to my ideas. Like he always is down for like crazy question I have.
Nice.
It's true. And because people say that a lot, which is the reason that we do the podcast, is because that's why it's called Countercurrents, because we're so different. But Petey's been like the greatest. Thanks, Petey.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Life.
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
Wow, that was really sweet.
It's true.
Yeah. You really learn from doing this.
I mean, there's enough shit talking Petey out there. I don't need to add.
Yeah, no. You don't want to because you're already on thin ice. Let me tell you.
Right.
Work wife is less than welfare queen.
Right.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Benjy. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good to see you guys. I haven't seen you guys in a fucking year.
That's
been
true,
a long time.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
Well, stay good. I hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Peace.
All right. Peace.